Hi, welcome to the Small Shed. This Saturday I'm making a desk tidy out of a post and a tin of pineapple chunks. See you in a minute. So having cleared all the benches of visors, which I've just got a batch of 15 out, 16, got a bit of room in the shed for a bit now, so we're going to make something for my daughter. She wanted a desk tidy. She's just got a new job at a school and she wanted something to put on her desk with her name on it. She showed me something on Pinterest, I think, that she'd seen. That's usually the way these things come to me, and basically it's a huge pencil with holes drilled in the top that you can then drop pencils and pens in all the way along. So at the moment I've got a piece of fir or something, I don't know, softwood, that I've cut down from a post to 75-76 mil. Reason for that is that I want to make it hexagonal, and I've found a very interesting octagon calculator on the internet, of course, that gave me various sizes, and that told me that if I went for a 76 mil from one face to the other, it would give me 32 millimeters on the side, and that will do with a 30 mil hole in it. That'll fit nicely, and that's the one of the Forstner bits I've got. So that's the way that's going. At the other end, one of the other things that made me cut this to 75-76 millimeters, at the other end I've got a tin of pineapple pieces. This is in our cupboard and is dated best before March 2019, so I think it's past its sell by date. The reason I'm using a tin of pineapple pieces is that it's ideally in size now to fit over the end, very much like the ferrule on a pencil, and it's got ribbing in it in the tin, shaped just like the ribbing you get on a pencil ferrule. So I shall fit that on the end, and it shouldn't need any turning or anything. By the time I've faceted the faces to make it an octagon, it will, I think, slide over neatly, and I can just bash it down with a punch just to hold it, the same way as a normal pencil is. And then we'll have a rubber on the back that will need to be round. It doesn't need to be very long, and I'll use an offcut. Another piece of timber I've got, I'll cut that down to about same length and just have that sticking out the end painted red. That's the plan. First thing is to cut the octagon sides off at 45 degrees. I've set the blade up to 45 degrees on the saw. Right, so I've done my test cuts to make sure that everything's in the right place, and that's working well. So we just do 4 cuts on the upper timber, and that should give us something that's the diameter of that can, if I've done all the sums right, or rather if the internet calculator has done all the sums right. Right, so we've got pretty much there. We've got the can being the right size for a ferrule. I've got to put a point on the other end. I need to just establish what that angle should be. and then I've got to turn a piece which will be 80mm diameter, I think, to fit inside the can. Yeah, 81, 82mm, just for where the rubber comes out the end, so that should be it. Just establishing a common point all the way around. It took a bit of thinking about how to run it through a circular saw to get it to work, to cut the end, and in fact it's totally backwards to what I would have thought. So what I've got to do there, slightly out, but it's good enough for this. I've marked a point on the fence that's set at the moment at about 22.5 degrees or something, I suppose. I'm going to keep that mark common there and then just run that through the blade on all 8 surfaces, and that should at least get me to pretty close to having a point. It just will need rounding off then, so we'll try that first. Right, that's got me well on the way to getting that. I think in the end the random orbital is going to be able to do the job perfectly well. A little bit more work needed on it, but at least that's getting it rounded now. Right, now I've cut the pencil down to length, to a slightly more sensible length. We're still not sure about how long it should be. I've opened my out-of-date tin of pineapple pieces, which, if I'm not doing a video next week, you'll know was toxic, so I'm going to eat them today. And you can see, I think, that is the idea. That's what I was hoping to get. It will look like a ferrule on the end for the rubber. Okay, so we've got the components, I think, now. I've chopped that one down. As I say, maybe it needs to be a tad shorter, I don't know, I'll check that out. It wants a little bit of sanding, but we're pretty much there with that. I've turned the rubber for the end. That will slot reasonably snugly into there. and then that whole thing will slot over the end, and that can then be just bashed down with a mallet or something just to fix that. Probably put some nails or something through just to locate it. Right, next job, clean them up for paint. Now, I decided to cut it down. It was just a little bit too long, so I've taken one of the holes out of it. I deepened them down slightly so they're almost down to the bottom now, and I want to keep my options open, so I'm going to leave them plain wood if I can. So I've masked them off and fill the holes up with tissue, so that if I can, I'd like to keep it that there's wood showing there and on the nib. Turn a small point which will drop into the end, which I'll paint black. Now, I've sprayed the tip black, but I've also got this graphite lock lubricant which I'm using on the downhill racer cars, and I've just rubbed that on, and that is to all intents and purposes identical to a pencil lead. Right, now the last thing I need to do is to get a name on the front of it that's required. I've had a play, I've got a system that I think works okay. I'm putting masking tape over the paint to protect it. The laser will burn that out, and what that means is then I can mask the rest of it off, spray it black, which leaves me the letters in black then, and then take the masking tape off, and that should leave me a reasonably good finish. And hopefully, apart from assembling, putting the end cap on, it's my last job. Laser's set up, just going to mount it on top, and then we can get it going once I've lined it all up. And to just drill a small pilot hole, because they're quite long nails. They're again IKEA cast-offs, are the things that glue the or that nail the hardboard to the back of the units, which I didn't use. And so there we are, that's it ready for dispatch to my daughter, and hopefully it'll give her some years of use. Well, I hope you enjoyed the build, something a bit different, and it was quite an interesting little job to do. Bit of metal work, bit of woodwork. So hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing you next week. We'll have something different, I hope, and I'll see you then. Bye!